Welcome to the Get Offset.
You did it this time.
Offset. Welcome to the Get
Offset.
Offset podcast. My name is Andrew.
And my name is Emily, and I'm not the one who misspoke this time. Amazing.
Well, it's probably overdue for me to do the same.
Red leather, yellow leather.
I'm not going to bother trying.
Gotta stretch the mouth muscles.
No, that means I have to talk to people. That's hard.
No, you gotta talk to yourself in a mirror.
Now. I won't talk about that.
Wow.
Anyways, something funny that happened at work the other day, but it's probably not best to talk about in the podcast.
Don't do that. That's fine.
We haven't recorded in a little bit. I think we recorded the last couple of episodes in short succession from each other, just based on schedule. So we had Labor Day weekend off, which is great. And then it's been a minute. So it's like sitting down in this chair. I'm like, wow, this is different. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I've had 2 live shows since we last recorded.
You've had 2 live shows. It's rained.
It's rained. It's fall now. It's like, it feels like we've had weather.
Right. I'm holding my breath because we've had fire season well into September the last couple of years.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of we had some stupid hot days, but I feel like we got out relatively easy.
We had a week, a month ago, that was really smoky, but
yeah, it wasn't not ideal.
By far nothing compared to the last 3 years of smoke weeks.
No.
So I'm waiting to see if we're going to get that back again by the end of the month before I go pull the AC unit. So I think, because if we hit smoke season, even if it's 70 degrees outside, I need to shut the windows and run the AC.
Right.
Instead of just breathing that all in.
Well, yeah, it's bad. Because a lot of people can't relate. If you're not if you don't know what it's like to have unbreathable air, then you don't know what it's like to have unbreathable air.
Right.
It is.
It just falls in the category of if I'm going to be putting ash on my lungs, it better have nicotine in it. It's at least I enjoy that.
At least you get a high from it, you know?
Right. I don't really smoke cigarettes anymore.
At least there's something you get. At least you get something from that other than general malaise and a stomach ache.
And sneezes.
And
it's the sinuses for me that gets it real bad with the smoke.
Oh yeah, and then you blow your nose and it's
yeah,
a dark
it's
color.
It's dirtyish, brownish, ashy gray.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always a good time.
Yeah. Ew. Yeah. So I had 2 live shows and they were both great. Didn't get COVID at either of them. They were both mask required, vax or negative COVID test required. Both were quite well attended. Obviously not sellouts, either of them. But both felt like there was a lot of love in the room. So that was great. One was a Sunday Crush at Connor Byrne, and that was so much fun. And then the other one was my first ever bass gig with a new band called Jerf. It's kind of rock Americana, really, really good songwriting. I had a lot of fun. I've never really played bass before, so it was baby's first bass gig. I played direct with, I had my, I didn't run through that. A ground control audio, their Serpens, compressor boost, optical compressor / boost, had that going into the Mazette lower drive / Robert overdrive. That went into the GFI Kazus mono, and that was my board. It was great. Loved it. We got to play Elvis Costello's What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding. And I love it when people, and Jeff did a great job singing it, but I love it when guys want to cover Elvis Costello, because I think that a lot of people who want to cover Elvis Costello forget that he's really quite a good singer with quite a good range. So people try to get into the forgetting that it's a pretty hard note to hit.
Right. Unless you're starting real low. That's a lot of people's entire range.
Yeah, so when the first rehearsal, we practiced that song, and I remember Jeff was singing it, and then he goes into the last one, and he's like, I think he just forgotten how high that note was, and he's like,
Yep.
whoa. So he had clearly like rehearsed
Yep.
it a lot, and I thought we sounded great. There's some really fun video of that, and I think that's gonna get edited eventually, but not by
Nice.
me. I ain't got time for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was
Sounds
good.
like life's been much more exciting for you than it's been for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Although I did almost kill a TikTok influencer the other week.
What? Like literally or like figuratively?
Sort of is the answer to that. So
sort of literally, sort of figuratively?
There's a TikTok influencer that I follow on Instagram because I'm not cool enough to be on TikTok. And screw it, I'll name names. His name is Sydney Raz. He's got a great account. The whole premise of the account is things I learned in my 30s. And it's just like, so things I learned in my 30s, and he'll talk about something that's, kind of life hacks or common sense or just stuff that 20-year-olds are young and dumb about. And since, I'm still in my 20s, but
you can get a head start on it. Yeah, it's smart.
I've got a kid already, so it's relevant information now. And anyways, so I've been following this account for a little bit. I'm like, I'm going to send him a tip. I'm going to try to reach out by posting it in my record a video of me doing it, post it to my Instagram, and post it to my Instagram story, and tag him in it. Yeah. So I did that, and no response, no likes, nothing. I'm like, all right, that's fine. And then like the week after I did that, he was on his Instagram. I was watching his Instagram story, and he's like, "Hey, caution, blood warning." And then he flips over, and his fingers are bleeding. And he's like, "I'm following a tip from that I got from a fan, and cut my finger not once but twice." But I think there's something here. And then he like showed in the background, and what it is something that I'll do sometimes is like a can like this is I'll open it with a can opener and then carefully just take the top off, and you just get it like a full open glass situation, and it's smooth on the inside. So you can't cut yourself unless you touch the actual rim like that you're pulling out. Oh. So it's really neat because it's nice and smooth, but he cut himself like trying to pull it out, and he did it twice. And I was like, that maybe I'm not the only one that sent it. But I also tagged Spindrift, which is one of the companies he likes to tag a lot. And it was a grapefruit Spindrift. And he had 2 grapefruit Spindrifts on the counter in the Instagram. So I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. So I sent an apology.
You hurt this man.
I did.
Oops.
Yeah, so that's my, I guess, attempted murder by accident remotely.
Maiming.
Via work from home.
You tried to help, but it's just it wasn't that the tip was bad or malicious. It's just like he did. Maybe you did you mention the part about like how not to grab it?
No, but I always use a fork, and I used a fork in my video.
Oh, okay. Maybe just in a follow up, like, yeah, I forgot to mention why I used a fork.
So now I haven't done it.
Yeah.
I haven't done it since because now I'm scared. I've been doing it for a while, and I'm scared I'm going to hurt myself.
Well, yeah.
Ruined it for myself too.
Oofta. But you got a haircut too. That's new.
I did. Yeah. Yeah. Some things changed at work, and I started growing up my hair with this whole idea of I'll cut it off when things are back to normal, which at the time seemed like it was going to be a couple months. It'll be kind of funny. Ha, Andrew Shaggy. And things have clearly not returned back to normal, but I think this is the new normal for a while. I think we're going to be kind of in and out of whatever the state is that we're all experiencing for a while. And with some of the bigger changes at work and need for me to look a little bit more professional, I was like, you know what? I think it's time for me to accept that this is the new normal and kind of cut off all that emotional attachment I've put on my hair. It's just part of my acceptance process.
Yeah.
Which is a really strange way to deal with things, but whatever. It's been a weird year.
You don't have any new pedals that you've like recently traded for, perhaps?
I got a blender. I got a stereo blender. Here, let's grab that.
I thought you traded somebody for a delay pedal.
No?
Oh. Or was it somebody else who traded something for?
Someone else did that trade. That's you and 20?
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking, I'm like, I think I still see the pedal that...
Yeah, no. a friend of ours is trading a Demodesh FX T120 for a D1, and I almost sprung for it, but I hesitated, and somebody else jumped on that train before I did.
Oh, well.
But I did get this. I don't think I had this
Blender.
since the last episode, but a stereo effects loop with a blend knob. Nice. I don't honestly have an idea of what I'm going to do with this. The big thing for me is I had a mono version of this from same brand. This one's mine, which is now out of business a while ago. Sold it, regretted it, and
now you have it.
I've got a stereo version, although the one I had before had a TRS out for expression control. This one doesn't. Oh, well. And then the other thing I got, I did get pickups, which I need to put. So Ibanez is getting grinders in it. That's also why I'm wearing this shirt.
He just keeps wandering off the screen. For those who are listening and wondering why he keeps sounding distant, is because he keeps walking around.
I'm just grabbing stuff, but ta-da! I don't know if you can see this very well.
Yeah,
it's pickups.
I can see them.
The cool thing about these, though,
grinders.
Where are the screws?
They must not be important.
There's no screws. I got the
no pull pieces. No visible pull pieces.
Well, yeah, but usually, because you also have like the pull pieces in one end and the screws in the other. And if you do the covered humbucker, usually you don't see the pull pieces, but you see the screws. And this one's just completely blank.
Yeah,
I think it's a cool look.
I'm excited. Cool look. I completely agree. I've thought about getting that that look as well. I just never did.
No, I got them like a week ago, and I got my bench set, like pulled out my stuff to swap out the pickups, and then a buddy of mine brought his guitar over, and he had a silver tone Strat knockoff that looked like it was, I guess, sometime in the last 20 years. Plywood body, the works, but he hadn't changed out the strings in several years. He's kind of newer to guitar. I was like, all right, we're going to take a look at this. And so I took the strings off and cleaned off the frets and the fretboard, and like had to take the razor blade to get all the finger gunk off.
God. Oh, yeah, dude. Like the guitarist in Jerv, because I play bass, not guitar. He gigged with his Les Paul, his Epi Les Paul, but he usually rehearses with his Telecaster, and I was giving him some shit because there was so much finger cheese like on the fretboard. He's like, but that's like well earned. I'm like, fret wear is well, like the wear spots as well on the neck are well earned. Like that's just finger cheese. Like I'm like, you should clean that. Like like that's kind of gross, dude. And that was funny. But man, I forgot to tell. Like I wanted to talk about like so. We show like our call times at the Tractor Tavern is 5, and I'm kind of like, oh, I've never like had them like actually sound check us on time, but I'm like, I'll get there at 5. They say we gotta be there at 5.
Yeah.
Like whatever, I'll bring a book. And I get there at 5, and they're sure enough they're checking us at 5, and everyone's there except the drummer, and we're like, where the fuck is the drummer? We actually miss our sound check because the drummer was getting a haircut. He had, I guess, slept through his original haircut appointment, decided he really needed a haircut. So this will mean more to people who are in Seattle. The only haircut appointment he could get was in Capitol Hill, and the Tractor Tavern's in Ballard. And he obviously couldn't get from Capitol Hill at 5 o'clock to Ballard in time. And yeah, so we missed our sound check spot. And then when it's our time to go on and we're line checking, at one point I'm like, where's the guitarist? And then I see him in the crowd, and I'm like, motioning my husband, I'm like, go get the guitarist. Tell me he needs to be on stage. I'm like, what is happening? Oh my God. It's a little frustrating. But we played.
In his defense, last time I went to a show, the drummer clearly hadn't had a haircut in a few weeks, and ruined the whole experience. I mean, I was just beside myself.
I was like, man, just wear a hat. That's what I did. That's what I usually do. That's what I'm doing right now. I was like, oh man. But can I show you my what's new though? Unless you want to say more about the drummer getting a haircut.
No, I mean, I could, but it'd really just be rehashing stereotypes that have now been reinforced, and just kind of being reminded that he just took us back a decade in drummer stereotypes. Killing me.
I was a little grumpy at the sound guy because we were like, can we like do some sort of check? Maybe the other drummer was willing to stand in and like help us like get a couple of levels, and the sound guy was like, there's no point. And we're like, we kind of disagree, but okay. And I was like, I just at least want to make sure my DI setup kind of works and sounds good. And he did the whole, like it's like Paul Rudd in Old School. Or no, I mean, Wet Hot American Summer.
I don't know. Like,
I just wanted to make sure the DI worked, and sure enough, we plug it in, and then I have to make some adjustments to the settings, so I felt a little bit vindicated about that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
just let me check my DI.
If it was a digital board that I knew well, I would have been tempted to, so we were running a different preset for each band, put all the band members that were there for soundcheck on a single control group, and that way when the drummer gets back later, you've got just one fader for the rest of the band to mix in with the drum set.
I mean, it was a digital board, yeah.
So that's what I would have done, but maybe the sound guy wasn't. There's a variety of
listen, there are rules.
Levels.
There are rules. We did not abide by the rules.
Yeah.
Get it? He was under no obligation to
it's true.
Coddle us, but at the same time, it never hurts to be nice.
Did you at least buy him a beer for letting you test your guitar?
No.
Bass? Aw.
No. No. I want to show you what I got.
All right.
It's not the oil can delay. It's my white whale. It's my white whale of a Jazzmaster. It's the Elvis Costello signature Jazzmaster, which I could not afford when it came out, so I didn't buy it. And one just came up for sale in Seattle, so I jumped on it. And I have it. It smells so good. That nitro smell. Oh.
Nitro does smell good.
I saw it go up for sale from a guy named Lino. I immediately go upstairs and say, Rick, I'm buying it. And he's like, all right. Okay. He's like, I just want you to play it first. So I messaged Lino. I'm like, Rick wants me to play it first. And then it says, you want to just take it home for a couple days? I'm like, okay. And Lino, I'd actually bought from him the day of the Sunday Crush show, that non-functioning oil can delay. I have a video up on YouTube of me working on that and getting it semi-functional. And I'll have another one up this week of me getting it mostly functional. But spoiler alert, I'm trading it back to Lino for for a little bit more for partial credit toward this thing.
Right.
So I'm happy as a clam. This I wanted a lot more. Elvis Costello is my favorite, one of my favorites of all time, one of my favorite songwriters. He just is so meaningful to me. He's the reason I really like Offsets and Jazzmasters. I've listened to My Aim Is True so many times. I've seen this guitar in so many pictures, and obviously he refinished it, so it's not like this walnut color anymore live, but man, I do love this guitar, and it's such a nice guitar to play. Yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah.
That's super exciting.
I'm happy about it. So yeah, this is my new thing. I'm sure people will be like, "You're already getting rid of the oil can delay?" Like, yeah.
It's bulky.
Yeah. And it's fine. Things easy come, easy go. Yep. It would have been a lot harder to get rid of if I'd had it for a long time. I got some really fun content with it. It was a really cool, fun learning experience. Rick and I had a lot of fun last weekend opening it up and learning a lot about it, watching videos and stuff. And,
right.
It was a great experience. And
sounds like you won.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, my other what's new is nowhere nearly as exciting, but still kind of exciting for me. I got a new computer.
Yay!
And this is actually the first time I've got it up and running, as of 20 minutes ago.
Wow! What a risk you took on that one.
Yeah, so if this dies in the middle of the episode, I'm gonna have some questions. But
no!
I'm not worried about it. I got it officially running yesterday. I've just been running updates and whatnot. This is the first time doing anything other than updates and putting in hardware and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah. Anyways, so I had a friend of mine give me out of the graciousness of their heart, a whole bunch of leftover PC parts and said, if you can supply like the 3 other things that you need, you can have them. And so for
how did you find a graphics card?
That was one of the things I was being given.
Whoa!
It's not super new.
Okay, but still.
The NVIDIA card that I've been running in my other machine, which is a HP compact desktop that's from 2011, which has been running for years. Definitely got the money's worth out of it. But yeah, it's significantly better in terms of graphics capability. So I got the GPU for that. So I got a GPU, a motherboard, 32 gig of RAM. I got a capture card, which I might need to do something with for content, but I haven't actually installed yet. So I had to supply a case, a CPU, and a CPU cooler, and then I ended up ordering the case from Amazon. There was a mix-up, and I got it for like 85% off.
I'm like, well done.
I got this sucker for all things considered like super cheap. So, I also got the power. He also gave me a power supply. So like I got most of everything I needed. Oh, and I also got a free SSD.
Damn.
So, I mean, I basically got given a free computer. So I'm happy as a clam. And yeah.
We're both happy as clams. Damn, good for us. We're having a happy as clam kind of week, eh?
I'm going to get Adobe Suite loaded on it. I'm going to get Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition.
Okay.
Which isn't even super graphics heavy. It just barely runs in my other machine. So I'm excited to be able to actually play that at the resolutions it's supposed to be played at. Dude, so it's been a fun week.
Can I just
and it's gratifying to build it with my hands and like, I don't know.
That feels good. I get that. Because I just had kind of a similar sitch. But can I just say, speaking of Amazon, I got an Amazon delivery the other day. Mm-hmm. I'm like sitting here at work and I see just like the silhouette of a package being thrown over my fence. And so I'm just like, I'm kind of frustrated because I'm like trying to do something else. So I get up and I kind of go outside and I'm just like, just for the record, I'm not like yelling like at the guy. I'm just like projecting so I can be heard. I'm like, hey, did you just throw a package over my fence? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay, well, I just watched you do it. And he's like, it was really light. It was like a letter or something. I'm like, no, it wasn't a letter. And he's like, well, was it fragile? Is it broken? I'm like, well, I don't know if it's broken yet, but please, I just don't want things thrown over my fence. I just don't like when my packages are thrown over my fence.
You're just sitting there having a cup of coffee.
I know. And you're like, I'm like, it's just not right to throw people's packages over fences. It's like, well, is it broken? I'm like, I don't know yet. Because obviously I have like not even been. He's like, is that your package? I'm like, yeah, it was my package in my house. And he's like, well, if it's broken, you can file a complaint or something like that. And he just said that. I was like, whoa. You get that? Like, okay, man. I'm like,
yeah, I mean,
great.
They're so overworked. So I'm
know,
so
like dude, I feel for you, but like, literally, all he needed to do was say sorry, and like, just come on, like, I get.
Sorry, I'm in a rush.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah, like, just say that. Just say that. Just say that. Just say sorry. I'm really overworked. I get that. I'm just like, man, I've had so much stuff get thrown over that fence. It's kind of a miracle that like shit hasn't gotten broken. But I'm waiting for it to happen. Actually, Sweetwater has actually stopped using FedEx. Like, they have a note in my account to stop using FedEx.
Nice.
Stuff because FedEx keeps hurling stuff over my fence. So I just thought it was FedEx. I go there and I'm like, FedEx! Ah! I know. Because that guy was just like such swoosh.
Right.
This guy frisbeed it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Going for the basket.
Yeah. It wasn't broken, the thing, which is also amazing because it actually was kind of fragile, but just because it's lightweight doesn't mean it's not fragile, dude.
That does remind me. I've updated my theory for who took a dump in my trash can a few weeks ago, and my new theory is I wonder if it was I have to wonder if it was like a delivery driver or something, because like our trash cans are tucked around the side of the house, and what if they're like dropping off a package at my front door? They see that we don't have a Ring camera, and or so they think. Ha. And just
do you?
Not a Ring, but
something. Yeah.
If I really wanted to check, I could probably do that, but I don't care enough.
But
I'm just wondering.
I'll be honest, that's something I just don't think I'd want to see.
Right.
I'm just gonna let some things remain mysteries.
So that's my new pet theory, and that makes me feel a little bit better about having to take care of it, because I'm like, well, it's if someone's really in a pinch, pun intended, then.
Yeah. That was good. That's good. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh God, why do people need me right now? Sorry. Why? Stop needing me. That's my advice to people today.
It's good advice. It's a Sunday. It's like the last day of the weekend to like have some like self-care and catch up and things to be successful for the week.
Yeah. I mean, I have a big video launching today. So if you're listening to this, check the YouTube out.
The YouTubes.
Yeah. I can't talk about it because we're premiering the podcast. So if you're watching, you'll be watching this in the future. If you're watching the premiere of this, I have a big video launching on Tuesday. So I'm excited. I think it, you ever do some work and you're like, I don't know if this is really good or really bad, or like good work or bad work.
Mm-hmm.
That's me a lot. I hope it's good. So, I'm proud of it. I'm excited about it. I tried to do more than I usually do. So hopefully it was worth it. I worked really hard on it. So I hope that paid off. So,
yeah. Hard work is always appreciated.
Yeah. Well, this week's episode of Get Offset is sponsored by Caroline Guitar Company. Today, let's talk about the Hawaiian pizza.
Fuzz.
It's a really fun fuzz. Like, you can get everything from that like really crunchy, nasty gated fuzz sound, which I really like a lot. But that pedal also runs really well on really low gain settings. It's just such a diverse fuzz or gain or dirt pedal. So check that one out. And I think
it's proof that pineapple does indeed belong on your guitar tone.
One of the things I like is they do the really fun like limited edition runs of that. Like, I know there was the vegetarian pizza, there was the American version, and like the Russian version of those around like the 4th of July. So they have a lot of fun with that one. So that's something to keep.
I mean, Philippe's got just this like super cheeky kind of sense of humor that I just absolutely love.
Totally.
Everything's got like kind of it's like he doesn't take himself seriously, but it's got everything's like some form of a play on words, or there's layers to it, and it's thought out. It's enjoyable. Yeah. It's his personality showing through, and I like seeing builders' personalities come out in their products.
Me too. Cool. Yeah, you want to talk about NAMM? Because everyone, I think, was like planning on going to Anaheim.
Winter. Oh.
Winter NAMM. More like January NAMM.
June in Anaheim. Because that's where I want to be in the middle of summer.
Well, I gotta be honest, I don't want to really be in Nashville in the middle of summer either.
Oh, sure. But
yeah.
I living in LA for like 5 years or whatever it ended up being. Summer's just, it's not fun. Like Anaheim's closer to the coast, but
I mean, I could probably knock a baseball park off of my my checklist.
It's true.
Yeah, maybe two. I've always wanted to go to. I'm a big fan of nobody gives a shit how many baseball parks I've been to, because it hasn't been that many. I just would like to go to more.
I've been to one.
So I don't think anybody expected that. I don't think anybody expected NAMM to just, instead of like, having like a winter NAMM, it's like a summer NAMM, but they're just moving it to June, and it's going to be in Anaheim, which obviously means there's not going to be a summer NAMM in Nashville.
Right.
So it seems almost like there's not going to be seasonal NAMM.
Just an annual. Or maybe it's just for 1 year until they feel like things have recovered.
Maybe, but I mean, like, I don't
they
think
haven't communicated anything really outside of this is when we're doing it next. there's no thought process. There's no. I would feel a lot more comfortable with it personally if there was a here's why we're doing this. Here's what the game plan is moving forward. Because for people, especially people who are selling B2B, this is their networking event for the year.
Yeah.
Whereas they can still network outside of that. This is a great chance for people to build B2B business relationships. And if your business relies on that, you kind of want to be able to plan out a little farther in advance than just like the next year.
Yeah.
So I think that's a miss. And then for the rest of it, it's just kind of confusing because I don't know about you. I've reached a stage of life where like I plan out most of like my traveling months in advance when I can.
Well, yeah, that is a lot of being an adult, especially for a lot of adults who have the jobs where they have to put in their vacation a year in advance, which is,
Yep.
a lot of people. But, Summer NAMM, I mean, again, we're in the middle of a global pandemic, but there were some interesting choices as far as who did and did not decide to attend. Like,
right.
Fender did not attend, and Gibson did not attend, and those are two
like what's
big
NAMM
deals.
without Fender and Gibson?
And Gibson probably would never attend again because they had the Gibson showroom right down the street. Why would they attend?
Right.
They had a presence in minor
No, they just
forms.
dumped, I'm assuming, millions of dollars into this showroom.
Yeah.
And that's going to be better than any booth they could put together at NAMM.
Yeah, so there was a lot of emptiness there. And so I wouldn't be surprised if the people in charge just said, it seems like 2 events isn't super viable if we cannot get Fender or Gibson into Nashville. Because there are other brands that have presences in Nashville that didn't attend. I mean, Eastwood Guitars has a showroom in Nashville and they did not attend,
Right. I do wonder how much of it is kind of that tension between like business models of being B2B versus B2C and for reaching customers, and for brands like Fender and Gibson where their B2B business contacts are well established and realistically businesses are coming to them to try to become dealers, not the other way around. So there's not as much of a incentive for that in a pandemic world. Realistically, like that direct access to customers has kind of had the playing field level that with more people than ever shopping from home, as well as seeing the highest Fender's highest selling year to date, with a lot of that not being from in-store sales. And so I wonder how much the pandemic has really changed the mindset of companies who are forward looking rather than just sitting in a status quo of a business sales model.
Well, and like Fender probably taking a lot of their budget and spending it in other places, spending it with more like artist representation, demo artists, sending a lot more gear, frankly, to people like me. I mean, I got this Tone Master Super Reverb. I'm going to be using in a lot more demos. They're sending me things that they're launching. They're sending me the stuff from the Paranormal series and a lot of other people. The Acoustasonic thing, they just dropped that to a ton of people, and people can make fun of that series, but the reason they built a second plant for it is because they are selling.
Yep.
Not
gonna lie, I'd play one.
They're fun.
Yeah,
they're really fun. Like my Singer and Sunday Crush, I loaned her mine and she likes it. She plays it. She has a lot of fun with it. It's a really unique tool to have in your arsenal. And, I could talk about that for a while. But, if the brands aren't going to be at Summer NAMM, then there's probably just not a reason to have it. And if a big purpose of having NAMM for a lot of brands, like, kind of shifted from being in retail to press, and you don't really need that to get the press, like if you have that more direct access to influencers, to publications, and you probably don't need to spend all that money on a booth. At the same time, like I know people who said that Summer NAMM was their best Summer NAMM ever in terms of sales and business because it was smaller and because they weren't so worried about getting press, and because people who were just kind of like enthusiasts who snuck in on their friends, got an extra badge or whatever kind of thing, taking up their valuable time yammering or whatever. Like, I heard that from more than 5 people that it was their best NAMM ever, and I'm talking big brands.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I believe that.
Oh, yeah.
I still think there's absolutely a place for B2B sales networking.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And if it's about NAMM getting kind of back to its roots in that regard, it's probably for the best. But it's probably going to require more than just reducing it to once a year and putting it in the summer. I'm curious as to why they changed the date. Is it
I
why?
wonder if they've pushed back scheduling January so far that at this point it's kind of like, hey, if you book it now, we're close enough to where you can't say just kidding Delta variant and back out. I wonder if that's part of it.
I wonder if they're worried about rising cases just in general with the winter, because that's what happened last year, is what you're
It might be
saying?
easier. It might be
Yeah.
easier for them to cancel, get a deposit back, whatever it may be for next summer if they're booking now, and then keeping an eye on things now come February, March.
Well, I mean, and in general, like when people are cooped up inside, like in the winter, cases tend to go up. So
There is
maybe
that.
maybe that's part of it.
Maybe they needed to take an insurance policy out for the booking of the venue, and the
Ah,
insurance policy could have kicked it back and said it's going to be way more expensive if you're booking for January based on the trends we're seeing.
maybe. I have no idea.
I
I
think
know
that
I know it's going to be fucking impossible to get pandemic insurance for the rest of forever.
yeah,
So yeah,
well, just expensive for sure.
impossible. 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 Because it already exists. The pandemic already exists, and that's usually pandemic insurances for pandemics that cannot be predicted.
Right.
So when it already exists, then you can't get that coverage.
Probably. I don't know.
I
You're
do.
probably right.
I mean, I am.
I believe you.
I'm sorry. When COVID started, I actually looked that up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I looked that up to see because I was curious. I'm like, one, actually, like fairs with livestock are more likely to get pandemic coverage for the livestock and shit like that. Yeah, but basically, I remember looking it up last year, and it was kind of mostly for pandemics that didn't already exist.
Right.
Yeah, like it's hard to get. You can't. It's kind of like it's a lot harder to get health. It used to be like impossible to get health insurance for like pre-existing conditions.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking through the layers of good cop, bad cop, and at what layer that starts to become too much of a liability to book an event for January.
Well, I mean, I think that at this point, like most of the insurance is kind of based around like when the city cancels stuff. Did you hear about Bonnaroo getting canceled?
No, I didn't.
Really? It wasn't because of COVID. Even though
What?
there were rising cases, yeah. What happened was Hurricane was it Ida or Ira?
First one, Ida.
Ida just dumped water all through the campgrounds and the
Yeah.
Bonnaroo grounds.
Mm.
And just made it impossible. Basically flooded the entire festival grounds. So they couldn't have it. Basically decimated all of their camping, so that reduced
Mm-hmm.
their ability to have capacity pretty much immediately. They were like, if anybody wants a refund, they can get it. And then they were
Right.
like, they went through, they're like, oh, we can't do it. So they had to cancel the whole event. Honestly, probably for the best, but
Probably.
I feel so bad for the people who worked their asses off to try to have a safe, fun event. Like I went to
Right.
Bonnaroo like 6 years in a row. Some of the best times of my life. Dancing with Bootsy Collins, like at one of the tents. Like, oh my god, so
Talk
fun.
about raining on a parade.
And then the vitriol, people like. I know the ticket says rain or shine, but like, and it sucks. It really sucks if you like spent a lot of money on gear and flights and took time off work. Like, it sucks, but like, it's
natural
Mother
disaster.
Nature, you know? So, I mean, they
it's not like you can just tarp over the campground to keep it from flooding out.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot buy enough kitty litter. Like,
right.
you can't. And, you know, it just was what a terrible and unfortunate situation. So my heart is my heart's with everyone who worked to try to put on that event. And, you know, when that kind of thing happens, please just be kind to the people who tried. They really tried. And, you know, they were as, if not more disappointed than you. That's their livelihood. And who knows what that means for
I don't
like the
know.
future of the
I
festival.
think doxing him on Twitter is the right thing to do.
Oh God, Andrew, don't even joke about that. Oh my God. You know, then they did a little thing in Nashville, I think the Saturday or the Sunday night with some of the performers, including definitely Phoebe Bridgers, I believe.
Nice.
Brittany from Alabama Shakes, and one other artist. But
That's something.
there's some article I meant to read that was kind of that cancellation really testing some of those contracts for payment and stuff, because some people are gonna have to get paid.
Yeah. No, money's gonna be lost on that, undoubtedly.
A lot. But that's one where insurance probably will cover some of those losses, because it's just, that's natural disaster insurance probably is a clause that they purchased. And just complete flooding of the fairgrounds,
it's got to count,
because they've never had the festival this late in the year. It's normally in the summer, so it's never been during hurricane season. No.
It's one of many larger events that I've heard of being completely botched in recent memory.
Now, don't say botched. Botched implies like poor planning.
Well, okay, fair. So Bonnaroo was not botched. The other one I'm thinking of sounds like it was poorly planned.
Go.
Is the Tame Impala concert at the Gorge over the weekend?
Ingress. Get your ingress. So for those who aren't familiar, ingress and egress is like the process of getting people in and out of an event.
Yep.
And it's one of the more like essential elements of crowd control.
So my understanding loosely between a couple of friends who were there, one of them made it in, one of them didn't. And
this is
Twitter.
This is also a show that's been rescheduled multiple times. The Gorge is a beautiful venue in central eastern Washington.
Like just off the Columbia River.
Yeah, and it's an outdoor amphitheater where they've had festivals and stuff, just to give people a little bit of an understanding of it. So typically people will like camp overnight and have a big fun party of a time.
And do a lot of psychedelics from what I've been told. I've never been.
I've never been.
But I mean, it's a Tame Impala concert. Who are you kidding? And so I got a text from a buddy the other night, and he's like, I'm still GPS is showing 4.2 miles away from the entrance gate, just to the fairground, and he got there at like 6:30, and this was at 9:30. He'd been sitting in his car for 3 hours, and he was still several miles out from the gate, just in a line of cars.
Oh my God.
10:30 is when the band finally went on, but they like pushed back. Tame Impala was supposed to go on at 8:30 originally.
They pushed back 2 hours, and still people
could not make it in. But the weird thing is, my buddy that was in there, and then a friend of a friend that was also in there, was saying the place was packed, and they weren't they're looking at Twitter, and they're really confused how there were still thousands of people outside, because the place was completely packed. And so now as of the other night, there's people wondering, like, did they oversell tickets?
Well, they always oversell tickets by 10 to 15% for those kinds of things. I'm sure.
Right. I'm sure they.
Yikes.
It just sounds like it was completely screwed up. It sounds like they also didn't book the fair or the campground part of it. And so there's like other people camping. They're like, wait, what? Yeah, we're just here to camp, and just stuff like that. It's just like all reports and stuff I'm seeing coming through Twitter. And that's just so disappointing. It feels like the sort of thing that wouldn't have happened pre-pandemic. And I don't know if people are just rusty. Like, everybody's just trying to scrap this all together before Delta cases get too far out of control and people have to actually start canceling things. I've seen a bunch of tours get canceled in the last week. I don't know what it is. That was really strange to see.
I mean, cases in Washington like aren't getting that much worse, but in other places they kind of are still. I mean, Delta is kind of burning itself out in a lot of ways, but that doesn't mean it's getting better. Cases are very, very, very slowly going down in King County, like very slowly. Like this spike is weirder than a lot of other ones. But yeah, that's really odd that it seems so packed, but still there were lots of people still waiting to get in. So if it was really oversold by accident, that would explain why Ingress was so messed up. Because they're like, how are there still cars? There's no more room.
Right.
Ooh.
I was told that there was definitely no room for parking. So.
Oh, do you know if they sold parking separately?
I don't honestly know.
I feel like usually they do for those events. So if there wasn't enough like carpooling happening, that would explain that. Or like if people didn't know they were supposed to buy parking separately. I have no idea how those events work. I feel too old to go to the Gorge for that kind of show.
I'd like to go someday.
I do too, but
I've heard good things about it.
I'm not. Oh yeah, I mean, it would just have to be the right show.
Right.
I'd see Elvis Costello at the Gorge, but I usually don't have to. He's not that big. He's not big enough, I don't think.
No, you did play Paramount.
Paramount's not the Gorge.
No, but it's a nice venue.
Yes, we were all there together.
Good times.
Yeah, I took edibles with my mom.
I just feel like the whole vibe around live music right now feels so strange.
It does. I think people are trying to get back into the swing and the vibe and kind of forgetting like little basic things about how to be human.
Yep.
So that's kind of part of it.
I had a friend go to a metal show in Seattle the other night, and I don't remember which venue it was, but I guess like the opener band straight up didn't show up. Just stuff like that.
What? What show?
I'd have to ask him. I honestly don't remember.
Was it like what kind of venue? Do you remember like what kind of show? Was it like
basement,
a big show?
Something. It might be like Numos or something. I don't know. I think it was in Cap Hill.
By Barboza show?
Maybe. I just got a kick out of it because I'm like, wait, so opener gets a gig. Like there's limited gigs right now. So the bands that are out there like trying, I presume, are just all trying to land the available openings.
I mean, yeah.
You just straight up don't show up. Like I think the only thing that like would make that better is if they tested for COVID and didn't show up to the venue.
Well, maybe somebody tested positive and they just couldn't find a replacement that fast. That's likely. I feel like that happened.
Possible.
That happened the same night that we played. There was our friends had a show in White Center, and their opening band, someone tested positive, and they couldn't find a replacement fast enough. That happens.
Yep.
And that sucks. So I felt bad for them. Yeah, another band I felt really bad for is I don't want to name names on this one. So I'm not going to name names on either side, but this was kind of one that went through indie rock Twitter this week, and I was really surprised to see it, but it was a great example of why bands should you should always find management that you trust, but even if you trust your manager, you should always make sure that you hold them accountable by staying CC'd on things as often as possible, following up on things as often as possible, and not completely trusting your manager. Because this band was called out by an artist, a designer that they had hired at one point to do album artwork. They decided to not use the album artwork. Seeing the artwork, I thought it was quite good artwork for like a show poster, but I tended to agree that I would not have wanted it to be the album artwork either. I feel like the album artwork they did go forward with was better and made more sense for the album. But then the artists didn't get paid the full rate. They got a 50% quote kill fee. For those of you who don't know what the kill fee is, it's a fee that says, we know you did the work, but we're not going to use the work. Here is an amount of money to justify that you did the work and that you cannot sell the work elsewhere. I've gotten it for writing projects more than once. Sometimes I've gotten it for pitches. I've gotten it for pitches that I've sent where they were like, we don't want you to write that, but we don't want you to write for anyone else either. Here's a kill fee. And just like the one or two times that's happened, it was usually when the actually the last time that happened was they're like, oh yes, please write that, or they didn't get back to me to approve it, and then they were like, oh shoot, we did want you to write that. Obviously now it's not a timely article since we kind of messed up and didn't let you pitch it elsewhere. How about we just send you a kill fee for it? And I was like, oh sweet, I got paid for an idea. Yeah, it was a very kind thing to do. So this artist called out the band, and then boy, did people come for this band.
Right, because no one's going to tag the manager. They're going to go for the band.
Yeah, even though it's like I think the band is big enough that the person who's in charge of this is typically going to be the manager. Because at that point, you're not like Venmoing somebody from your band account. Your manager is kind of handling that. So the band made a statement that they had become aware of it. They were working on it. And by all means, they very quickly dealt with this. And another artist also came forward that they had a similar experience with the band's management. Well, quote, they said, I don't know if it's the band or the management, but this happened to me too. In which case, that tells me it's the management, because if it was the band, you would know.
Right.
So it must have been a really bad day for that band. And the next day was probably a really bad day for the management. Yep. I actually talked to one of the artists and I talked to the band. It sounds like everything got cleared up really quickly, but man, that was a tough lesson to learn for that band. Right. Artists deserve to get paid in stop, and they deserve to get paid quickly. It's full. If ultimately, it doesn't really matter whose fault it was. I'm glad the artist got paid. People can stop attacking the band, though. I'm glad that whatever happened made the artist get paid, but it's never okay to just. And one of the artists said something that really stuck with me is that people are faster to bully this little indie band on Twitter than these big corporations that owe her 10 times the amount of money. Yeah. Which, makes a lot of sense. It's easier
to pick on the little guy, let's be honest.
It is. It's a lot easier. So, the artist, the first artist, I wish that artist would go back and respond to the people who were would have responded to people who were continuing to shout at this band after everything got resolved. She did create a separate tweet that basically said she's still a huge fan of the band, that she's being flown out to see them at their next show, that she had actually just the week before bought their record and really likes it, and stuff. Basically that she still likes the band. Right. She just was really frustrated in that moment and made that tweet. And, I'm glad she got paid. That's the most important thing, that you get paid.
Dollar bills, yo.
Yeah. So it really does sound like it was this big mess with the management. And whether or not it was on purpose, it happened.
CC existed for a reason.
Yeah. So I saw another artist say, and this is why I make my management CC me on every single email, even though it makes my inbox a mess. This is your name that's being managed. This is your reputation. And in this industry, your reputation is everything. Right. So you want to be on top of it, and you want to be a part of it. You want to know how you're being represented, and literally and figuratively,
Right. And the nice thing though is if you're just CC'd on an email, then you're just reading for visibility. There's no action items that go with that unless there's a huge red flag that needs to be addressed. But for the most part, you're just keeping up to date, and it's much easier to read through a handful of emails a day. Yeah. That's going to take you less time than scrolling through Instagram and or Twitter or whatever mindlessly for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's very doable if you prioritize it.
Yeah.
To a certain volume. I think that's it's way less intimidating to think of it in terms of you're just reading for visibility versus I'm reading and I might have to respond to things.
Yeah, just for visibility, because then you'll see things like pop up, like if the artist had been like following up on payment for the third time, why haven't you paid me? Or you can see when if somebody is like saying stuff like trying like negotiating their rate down by half, like that's not cool. And I'll say like this artwork that this person put out was easily worth twice what the original fee was. And I I'm not super chill with how little they got paid in the first place. So, you live and you learn, and there are things like sometimes you never know, when you're doing art for a DIY or indie artist, you never know how big the album's going to do get or how well it's going to do. Like the family of the at Nirvana Nevermind album cover, they were paid $200 for that picture.
Yep. Back in the 90s.
Yeah, that's like $300 in today's money. Maybe $250 probably.
I don't have a running inflation calculator in my head.
Yeah, but when somebody's like gives you a painting and they were essentially paid like $10 an hour for the work that they put into it minus supplies, like that's not enough money for an original painting. So like just artists, like we are artists and we want to be paid for our work as musicians. We need to make sure that we are giving graphic designers the same amount of respect that we're demanding for our own work.
Yep.
I'm going to say the same for writers, like content. Dip, 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 dip. That's like clacking on a keyboard, like Bruce Almighty, kind of, or that cat gif. Yeah.
Yep.
Thing. We need to make sure that one, we are respecting our own time and demanding rates that are fair. So we're not working for free or cheap or rates that will hurt everyone else in our industry. And two, we're showing other creators the same respect. We're not asking to work for rates that are offensive to other people in their industry, Like don't ask me to write a 300-word blog post for $25. I'm not going to do it. It's offensive.
Yep.
Nobody asked me to do that in a very long time.
Well, I felt bad. I had so I went through negotiating some artwork with an artist I've partnered with for Fox Cairo, and they're like, "Well, what do you want to pay me?" I'm like, "I don't know what your rates are. I don't know where to begin with. Yeah. I'm scared I'm going to lowball you here because the work that you do is so great.
Yeah,
I just don't have a frame of reference. Can you help me out here?" And so we were able to talk back and forth. That conversation was based out of I want to respect the work that you do and the rates and make sure that you're being paid fairly.
Tell me what your rates are, right?
I think that's a much more, I think going into it with that mindset rather than how can I get this for as cheap as absolutely possible.
Yeah, what's fair? Because I'm just completely ignorant about what design rates are too. Yeah, I don't know what they are. So I just gotta
different
ask,
designers charge different things.
And frankly, and I'll tell people if I can't afford you, then I can't afford you. Yep. And that's not me trying to then negotiate a lower price. That's just me saying good for you for what your rate is. I can't afford that. So, again, good for you.
People are willing to pay that. Cool.
Yeah. It's I can't afford everything I want in this world.
Yep.
I can't afford the nice Volvo that I want, So that's why I don't own that Volvo. I can't afford the house that I want, so I don't own that house. I'm not going to go up and be like, well, you should give it to me. You should give it to me for what I can afford it for, because that's stupid. It wouldn't work. It doesn't work for a house. It shouldn't work for graphic design work or music work or copy editing.
Go to Midwestern gas station. You're like, hey, the gas prices being over $4 a gallon are pretty offensive, eh? Why don't we
You should do it for the love of selling gasoline. Right. Do it for the love of petrol. Everyone's in petrol for the money these days. It's such a shame. Nobody just sells petrol for the love of it.
Right. So, didn't even offer to pump my petrol for me.
Damn. Man.
Heartless. Just in it for the money, aren't they?
Petrol's gone to pots. Should that be our next shirt? Petrol's gone to pot. Dumbest shirt. Dumbest shirt. And you thought our Schemantics shirt available at getoffsetpodcast.com/shop was stupid.
I did not thank you. I thought it was brilliant. But
well, you made it, so thank you.
Yes.
I think it's funny. I wish people would buy it. I wish people would subscribe to our Patreon because we're only $5 away from our goal.
Oh, yeah. And the goal will be recorded on these. This is part of my procrastination process is I'm going to record.
Those are the grinders for those who are listening.
The high out humbuckers?
Yeah.
Oh, there's absolutely like a level of like, I'll get to this, but when I have the right equipment. Just procrastinating a little bit. So
Cool. Well, that's all I've got to talk about today, and I feel like that's been enough talking for the day.
The only other thing that's completely unrelated is shout out to Steve from Blue's Clues. I've got such a complicated relationship with Blue's Clues.
I was a little old for Blue's Clues. I still watched it a little bit, but I was like teetering. I was really teetering.
So like all of my friends my age are like, Steve left me. And when I was a kid, I'm like, I don't know. I guess this is kind of fair. I'm used to this by now. Because I lived in the UK when I was a little kid, and they had a different Blue's Clues host. It's a dude named Kevin. And so I was used to Kevin. And then like I remember leaving the UK and coming back to the US. I'm like, oh, this is a different guy for Blue's Clues. And like a couple years later, that dude left. I'm like, well, I mean, this is just life now. It was like, it's fair payback for me leaving Kevin. And yeah, so that's definitely strange. I've definitely got a very different, like all my other friends are like, you're traumatized by Steve went to go get a pack of cigarettes and never came back. Like that kind of a dynamic, and just completely blindsided by the disappearing father figure. And I kind of just have this weird, I don't know. Either way, it made me cry. Can't lie about that part. It was such a heartwarming video.
Did you watch Mad Men? I forget.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I saw one today where it's Steve from Blue's Clues saying, "I never forgot you," and it's Don Draper from the elevator scene in Mad Men with oh gosh, with one of those copywriters, and it's from that scene where the copywriter says something like, "I feel sorry for you, I feel bad for you," whatever, and then Don Draper looks at him and says, "I don't think about you at all." So it's Steve from Blue's Clues saying, "I never forgot. I never stopped thinking about you."
And then he's saying, "I never thought about you at all."
I don't think about you at all.
Oh man, that's screwed up.
And that was good.
I kind of want to put together I'm probably so far behind on this, it's no longer relevant. But the thought crossed my mind of like having like this like Steve from Blue's Clues being like, "I never forgot you," and then like but pasting over like the dad from Ricky Bobby onto that, because like he comes back into Ricky Bobby's life once he becomes a famous NASCAR driver. There's so many variations on that.
That reminds me of this week's Ted Lasso. Whew.
I have not seen any of the second season yet. I don't know if I will, but I would like to retain the no spoilers for as long as I can.
Well, you better start, dude, because it's getting
I should
harder.
probably, because now I'm a soccer coach too, so there's also that, and I need inspiration.
Football is life.
Football is life.
Yeah.
Indeed.
All right. Well, that's all I've got. I've got lots more to do today.
Yeah. I was supposed to have this computer running by like Thursday so I could catch up on things and start migrating files, and it's finally like rocking and rolling by Sunday afternoon. And that's directly tied into like 8 of my other projects, so I'm very behind. But so be it.
Yeah. I feel not behind. I just feel a little I don't know. I don't feel behind. I feel like I got some stuff. I got some stuff ahead of me to work on. And I'm really excited to have some new stuff to work on. It was kind of a slow July and August, but you know, I really like that super reverb. I know you're jealous.
I am a little bit. If you ever want to trade
Nope.
for a smaller amp.
No. Sorry.
But also, if you wanted to borrow the amp back to do a shootout side by side, if that would be helpful, you're more than welcome to.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah. No.
Maybe.
I don't mind either way.
Maybe.
I won't take it personally. I won't take it personally, man.
Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. All right. Well, thank you out there. Please like, comment, subscribe below. Check us out on patreon.com/getoffset. Check out our merch at getoffsetpodcast.com/shop. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for understanding.
Until next time, my name is Emily.
My name is Andrew.
Goodbye.
Bye.